Ooh, hello there, my fellow miners and crafters. GoodTimesWithScar here, and welcome back to the wonderful world of Hermitcrafting. And we're here in Scar's Frontier Outpost, taking a look now at what we built in our last episode. Look at our beautiful Yellowstone sub-biome. I am so happy you guys like that. I will be 100% honest. I was a little bit worried before uploading that video that we may have gone a little too crazy, and you guys were very receptive to it and enjoyed the design, which couldn't have made me any more happy. And yeah, so thank you so much. Oh, we're dodging those trees like a real flight pro here. Oh, a little stumble at the end. A little stumble. I will admit I had a little stumble there, but that was some good flying. You got to admit right there. You know, I have flown almost 6,000 kilometers here on the server, so it's got to count for something, right? So this is where we're going to build today. And as you might kind of tell, I have gotten a little crazy here trying to mark out designs. And I have a very beautiful design for a station. It's based off of Southern Pacific or Southern Northern. It's one of those trains, something Southern. And the design is a 2-story building with a giant warehouse off to the side. It's kind of like a staple of this particular railroad's designs for their depots. And we're going to do it. But trying to fit it into this spot next to Her Highness over there is very difficult because Her Highness over there has all this space to herself, and trying to fit it in this little spot and have our little warehouse going along this side right here, it's quite difficult. Now, after, going through the comments on quite a few different videos, I've decided to leave the jelly where it is. Now, there's a lot of great options about doing this or doing that with the giant jelly, but the vast majority of you guys said, keep that cat where she belongs, at the entrance of your base. It's iconic to your base in this season, and it's like, okay, I get where you're going with that. I appreciate all the comments, but that's what we've chose. The giant jelly is going to stay, but trying to figure out how to build what I want here is quite a different story. That cat might still go. I haven't decided. Don't tell her. But yeah, I'm excited because I think what we're going to build here is definitely pretty cool. Oh, by the way, 1 second real quick. Can you guys please remind me to put the stumps over by my sawmill? I keep forgetting those. It's been like 2 weeks. I'm like, hey guys, don't forget to tell me about the stumps, right? Yeah, I keep forgetting about those. All right, so I am going to use the restroom here real quick, and we're going to meet up with Tango.
Scar?
Scar,
are you in there?
Oh, Tango, just 1 second here. Just 1 second. All right. Oh, hey now. Hey, I'm just finishing up in there.
What? What is this?
That's a porta potty. It's Scar's Frontier Outpost porta potty.
Oh, come on. Really?
This is actually my favorite build on the server.
I love this. Great.
It's, got your toilet paper, got your toilet, and guess what? Just in case things get rough, it's got handlebars on the sides.
I know, right. For those very extra money.
Practical wise, great AFK room if you can't log off the server.
This is true. This is true.
Go into your porta potty.
You're good to go. Literally.
Yep. Yes. So welcome to Scar's Frontier Outpost, and we have some problems here, Tango. We've called an expert.
Okay.
Our crops have failed. Our cattle has been rustled, and we're starving here, Tango. We need food.
No. Okay. All right. I'm here to save the day, man. What's up?
But we don't know the first thing about making a good farm, a quality farm, a farm that we could be proud of. Now, I got this little book here, and it says, congratulations. This book entitles the owner to 1 complete redstone job.
Yes.
So I received this from the Tangler after spending 16 hours in there.
Yeah, I think you earned this one here.
All
right, then. It is time to cash it in. You are well deserved of that one.
All right. Yes. Eyes on me. Eyes on me.
Because I don't want to see.
No, he looked. He looked.
Yeah.
He looked.
Cookie the chef. What happened to him?
Cookie the second has tragically died once again by an unnamed knight.
Oh no! Someone just took him down.
Mistaken for a creeper, even though he was actually a creeper. But he was a tame creeper, right? He was a tame. He was a beautiful creeper.
No threat, just cut down in cold blood. Horrible.
Such a beautiful person. Not the greatest cook.
I love this underground area. This is so cool. Every time I come in here, I get lost, but it looks so good. Yeah,
I have a tendency not to light builds up and to make them very complicated to get around.
Well, that's why I got the cats here. So that you
that's why I got the cats, right? Yes.
Right, I got you.
Cookie never liked to come down here with the cats for obvious reasons.
Understandable, yeah.
So down in this hallway, so I just added this on stream, and it opens up into this giant cavern down here. And
yes.
I've been going back and forth here trying to figure out what I want to do down here. Now, some viewers might know.
Yeah, this is Aquascar, right?
He actually died untimely.
Speaking of dying.
Uh-oh. Oh. So this crazy cavern down here, I've been going back and forth coming up with ideas, and I actually came up with an idea last night, maybe.
Okay, for like this whole area down here? This is huge.
Yeah, so this is going to be an underwater marina, so it'll kind of attach to the upper level where the train tracks are, and cranes will come down here and pick up stuff from boats, right?
Oh, nice. Okay.
But I've always been talking about a Wild West town. Mm-hmm. Maybe I build it underground.
Ooh, Subterranean Wild West.
Yeah. So,
original.
So I need a food farm. Like I said, very hungry. I've ran out of diamonds, so Azuma, I can't pay him. He's like my dealer. I got no food. I've got no food and diamonds to pay.
He wants to eat. Where's the diamonds? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been really rough. So a food farm of some kind of your choosing and your imagination can go here. And then I almost thought, if you want to get wild, it could even be back in that corner over there. It could
do you have a preference on what type of food? Do you prefer a little cow, a little chicken, something else?
I have no preference. I have no preference. It could be anything. Pizza, nachos are preferred, but I don't think that's possible.
I don't think that one's happening yet.
Unfortunately. But no, anything you want. It could be chicken, beef, whatever. Just use your imagination to whatever you want to do. And welcome back, and we've got to get started on our project today. So I've been in the storage room getting all the supplies we'll need. So these are the materials we'll use for our roof. And of course, these are our platform materials. And then of course, the actual structure is going to be built to a combination of milk chocolate, dark chocolate, and of course, oak highlights via the fences and things of that nature. So very similar to some of the other designs we've worked on. So grabbing that and heading up top now, I've got to ask you, you remember we were talking with Tango just a moment ago, and I kind of alluded to the fact that I've been thinking about doing the Wild West town inside of our underground caverns. What are your thoughts on that? I came up with that last night, and I was like, we have this giant space down here. It's going to be a marina, but I'm thinking, we've got way more room in this area to do something kind of amazing, and it would be very different. Now, the original design was a very traditional Wild West town. It was going to be out in the kind of desert area, kind of all alone. The train would take you there, things like that. It's a good idea, but maybe doing it underground would be cool. That underground area, of course, is down there. What are your thoughts? Above ground or underground? Let me know in the comments. Above ground or underground? Because either way, we can do something cool, and I'm confident that it'll be nice either way, but doing it underground may be unique, but also doing it above ground gives us way more room in terms of, designs of builds where we'd be a little more confined down at the lower area. But let's get started with this. So like I said before, this is very, very tricky. And let me kind of drop down some of our chests here. Now, what we're going to do here, let me see if I can grab out some stairs. There we go. Very beautiful. So the design here, like we've done before, is taking some of our acacia, placing them down like that, and then running our stairs like so. And of course, we'll fill in the interior. But the design at this point is about 14 or so by 34. Now, this very well might change, but that's kind of what I'm working with at the moment. And welcome back, guys. It's just your crazy Uncle Scar here. That's right, I just did a blind shot on that creeper. Oh, that was the best shot ever. Let's get this creeper inspector too. Let's get the skeleton. Nobody stands in the way of what? How did you survive that? How did he survive that attack? We've got a problem. I do not like what we've designed, and I'm going to redo it because I never settle. Never settle, my friends. Actually, it's not the best way to live because then you're always dissatisfied. So it's a problem. Don't recommend it, but that's the way I live. Never satisfied with the way things look. So I built this little section right here, and I'm just not happy with it. Excuse me, I would like my platform to be clear, thank you. This platform right here needs to be moved. That's right, and we're going to move it to right here. So what I've done here is built up this section, and it butts right up against the butt of the jelly, and I'm not happy about that. So this section's looking good. I've planned it all out. I've got all of these little details down, so I know, the scale of the build, how it's going to go. And by doing this extra planning, which I always recommend when you're going to start building, do this so you know that you're going to butt up against the jelly. and I advise you not to butt up against the jelly. So another area that's a big problem is that this kind of goes right up against kind of the entrance into the actual outpost, and oh my gosh, they're everywhere. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pack up, move it across the tracks. Now you might be wondering, Scar, why on earth didn't you just do it in the first place? The reason was that I didn't want to build a large, oh wow, I just thought, wow, I'm hallucinating. I thought there was a creeper exploding, but it was like that little glint of the jelly's leg. For some reason, I thought was like that like puff that creepers. Wow, I must be going insane. It is dark and creepy. Who knows? I'm going insane, guys. Help me. So I'm going to move this onto this side over here. And the reason, like I said before, I didn't want to do it was I didn't want to block the view of our watermill. But I think it's going to be okay because we're going to nestle it back in this corner right there. And then the actual warehouse will go out this way, which won't cover up our kind of little nice little, what's that called? Water fountain, waterfall. That's right. So our waterfall. And then the crane is going to go right here. The secondary crane is going to go on this side. Now the question is, I need to make sure I can still see the marina from here. Can I? Okay, good. This is good. So if we make the marina just a little bit bigger, this should work out really good for that hole right there, which will bring down the crane down to the lower level. And there we go, guys. So that was hours of planning and trying to figure out how this is going to go. And I think that is a path to success right there. And after a few hours of work and planning, I've got the platform built on the right side, cleaned up the left side fairly well. So I think that's looking decent. Now, what took so long was to terraform this new section of our cliff. We now have at least 10 to 20 extra blocks of space to work on over in this area. And I also terraformed the under section of this so it didn't look too bad for Mystical's base in case he logs on and he's like, oh geez, what is that ugly thing? So I got that taken care of, and let's just start building because boy, I've wanted to build all day and planning this has driven me crazy, I'll be honest with you. All right, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, boom. We've got our first blocks built and ready to go. And there we go. Oh, it feels good to build, doesn't it? Planning is so tedious and boring at times, but it's so very important. So don't get me wrong on that account. But it just feels good to start knocking those blocks down and seeing, well, not knocking down because that would be breaking it. No, that's wrong, Scar. Putting those blocks up. There we go. That's the right term. So getting these things all built up and ready to roll. So I'm working in the interior here, getting the window set up in this little section right here. We're not going to go with glass on this particular build. We're going to kind of make it very, very rustic. So we're building out the kind of station house in this area. So I think this is going to look really, really nice when we get a little bit farther into it. So I'm going to put another block right there looking good. So what we need to do is we need to take this design and implement it over here. Left section complete on our station house. So like I said, this is going to be a station house for the station master, things of that nature. And it's not going to be for passengers. This is more of like telegraph, manifest, things of that nature for cargo trains. So I think that's going to look cool. So that's kind of the entrance. Now, I want to do something. That's 4 stairs going upwards, correct? That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. I'm actually going to switch out that top block right there and bring these going across there like that. There we go. That's what I wanted. Now on this upper level, see this little piece along here? I'm not exactly sure what I want to do up there. I think for now, I'm actually going to take out some milk chocolate and run that up there. We might swap that for something else eventually, like a stair. I think a stair actually, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, why don't we start right here? This is an extra little piece going across here. I want to talk a little bit more about trains. So like I was saying that this project has been really fun because I've always loved trains my whole life. I wanted like a train that went around my ceiling. I've always had all sorts of different model trains. And one of my dreams was to actually be a conductor at Disneyland. And to be a conductor at Disneyland, I wanted to like hold on to the side of the train and ride the rails through Disneyland, which unfortunately you can't do that anymore because it's not OSHA safe, apparently. They had to build these little like cabins within each train for the conductor to actually be in because they can't just hang on to the sides like they did for like, I don't know, 59 years where nobody got hurt. But apparently it got a little unsafe in this modern day. But yeah, that was always a dream, just like hang on the side and ride the rails. And I mean, it would still be fun, let's be honest, but a little less fun now you can't hang on to the rails, right? But let's put these blocks here like that. So I think that's looking decent. Once we start working on the roof, this is gonna change up just ever so slightly. There we go. So next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add just a little extra milk or dark chocolate actually right there. This line right there, that's the one that's been tricky like I said, I think I'm actually going to go. Yeah, why don't we just do that now? I think this may change, so don't hold me to it, but I think we might change that up a little bit. And then in this lower section right here, we're actually going to bring this across here like that. So we'll bring this to, that's about 3. So then we'll bring this one up like so. Another dream of mine has always been to have a backyard railroad. Doesn't a backyard railroad sound amazing? So what a backyard railroad is like a train that you can actually ride around your backyard. Like you've got like a model railroad, but it's not life size, but enough where you can get on it and ride tracks around your backyard. Doesn't that sound amazing? Or is that just me? If it's just me, I get it. But there's got to be somebody out there that's like, heck yeah, I want to ride a train around my backyard. That sounds amazing, and I'm right there with you. I've always thought that was pretty cool. A lot of the old animators, Imagineers of the day actually had those while they were working in the Disney company. I always thought, man, that must have been so cool. John Lasseter actually has, I believe, Ollie Johnson's, and there was, I don't know if Frank Thomas had one or not, because they lived next to each other. Maybe he just rode over on Ollie's train. I can't remember, but Ward Kimball also had one. And then they talked Walt Disney into getting his own, and he had the Carroll Road Pacific, of course. You can see the actual engine in the Disney Family Museum in the Presidio in the San Francisco. There we go. I love that. I got a picture of that, by the way. Guy got a little upset with me. I'll be honest. I probably wasn't supposed to be taking pictures, but I wanted it for myself. I wanted a picture of the actual like train. And let's see, let me check something real quick. Let me grab this. Yes. Oh, hello there, little fella. You're not tall enough to ride the roller coaster, are you? You can't come up here. Sorry. But yeah, that's always a dream I had, was a backyard railroad. And I was thinking about that the other day. I got a lot of dreams, I do. And I always have to ask myself, in particular ones, am I working towards that dream? Am I making progress towards that dream? Am I even doing anything to get to that said dream? And I think that's something that we all have to ask each other or ourselves once in a while, is that we all have dreams, right? And I think it's super important to have dreams, things to look forward to, things to work towards. But then you got to ask yourself too, am I working towards that dream? And you can ask yourself that. You've got a dream. I bet you do. And you got to ask yourself right now, like, I have a dream. Like, I want to accomplish this in my life. I want to do this in my life. But am I working and doing all the things necessary to get towards that? It's an interesting question, and I have to tell myself multiple times, like, am I getting there? You know, you have these lofty dreams, but are you working and moving towards the right directions to get there? You know, a dream is only a dream if you don't put the effort in. You know, you got to put the effort in to get to that dream. That dream, like I said, it's just going to be a passing, you know, memory if you don't put that work into it. And I think that's starting to look pretty good. We talked heavily about this subject back in the roller coaster project. Highly recommend watching those videos if you want to hear more about that. But this is looking good. So give me a few more seconds here. Let me kind of clean this up, work on the backside. I'll be right back. At the station, starting to emerge out of our platform, looking fairly nice down there. So let's fly on down here. Right through the door. There we go. And now the back side here. Now, I don't think I'm going to do a sliding door back here, but what I've decided is I will do 2 windows right here. And if we turn the corner here, this is the basic design that I have for this side. Now, if we go all the way down to the end, I have a very similar setup. Now, it's fairly plain, right? Now, logically, you would take these posts and run them along here, right? It would tie in with the front and the back. But my philosophy with this may be, and let me know if this is correct or not, it might be better to kind of make the sides slightly plain so that it doesn't compete with, say, the more fancy front or back. Does that make sense? You know, trying to draw your eye towards the front, not, you know, kind of the kind of boringish sides. Even if it had like fancy details, you still want to draw your eye to the front. So by kind of keeping this plain, your eyes kind of wander to the spots that you want it to, which would be the front, which you'd put more effort into. Does that make any sense? I don't know. Hey, get out of here. Anyway, I think that look okay. I'll also consider doing a slight overhang here, you know, for odds and ends, crates and things. I think that might look fairly nice. And welcome back. Working on the roof, as you can see, slightly tricky. So I'm trying to do a small roof kind of build up to our second story and then have kind of a standard triangle shape roof on the top. You know, it's 50-50. It's 50-50. I ran a staircase across here. Not a huge fan of at the moment, so I might pull back on that Now I would like it to be, let's see, let me grab out a half slab again and kind of see where this takes us. So we ran half slabs across here like that. Maybe move the stairs down to this lower level. It's something to consider. I'm still not 100% sure where this is all gonna go at the moment. That's the fun of it, right? To kind of see where the design takes you. I think that's looking decent right there. Now let's sneak back over here. And these are 3 blocks. Perfect, actually. That actually might work out decent. The original window design is something that I was thinking about for our backside, which we did not do. Is, let's see, I might actually have to pull this in 1 more block. There we go. So I was thinking in terms of Minecraft development, right? I was thinking of when they design things for the game, if I was in charge, that's scary to think of. So if I was in charge, every block would have to have a rhyme and or a reason, right? It would have to have some purpose, like the bat. Kind of pointless. It's decorative, I'll give it that. But it should have a purpose, right? There should be a drop and then something to say craft from that, right? It just seems like that's what it should be. We have so much useless, dropped items on the game, like zombie flesh. I mean, what can you really do with zombie flesh? And there's a couple uses, I'll grant you, for zombie flesh supporters out there. But in terms of like, things that you really would like to collect and not have to throw away. I guess that's the thing is like, I wish there was more uses for things and less, need for throwing junk away. Like I just threw away 12 zombie flesh. What am I going to do with zombie flesh? I don't have any dogs to heal. I mean, that's one thing you can do with it. And truly, that's the only thing. But yeah, look at that. That's looking good. Let's jump on our makeshift scaffolding, which is really precarious. You fall up here, you're falling to your death. You break your leg, get eaten by a zombie. The cats watch you. They're not going to help you. I'll assure you of that. These Minecraft cats, they're not going to help you. This is looking really nice. I'm loving this design. Very, very rustic. I'm going to use this as a crafting scaffolding. It's crafting scaffolding, guys. It's the new rage around here. But like I was saying, there's just so much junk, and I would like to see them, think before maybe adding another item here or there. Be like, you know what? Can we use the blocks that we already have, like zombie flesh? What can we do with that? Maybe like mods, like, the mod development over time, they've made like zombie flesh turn into leather, which is amazing, right? That's a really cool use of, zombie flesh and things like that. I just think that that's what they should do. Like when they added bears, and I'm not going to go on a bear rant. You guys have heard me bear rant too much around here, how I would have done bears, but give everything a rhyme or a reason and a circle of life. The bears, how I would have done them, they would have salmon. See, I'm going on the rant. They would have had salmon, so you could have seen, fish swimming in the water, and they would eat those. Also berries, they like berries. So yeah, that's my philosophy. Everything should have a rhyme and a reason, and not have enough stuff to throw away, because I'm tired of throwing zombie flesh on the ground. Zombie eyes, which has some purpose, but not much. But yeah, that's looking decent. I like that. Could use a little bit more variation in the roof. We'll use some cobble, we'll use some smooth stone to vary that up, of course. Now, this section over here, real quick, is just going to be in the milk chocolate variety once again, similar to what we've done over at the sawmill. See how we have the stone roof at the top, and then the other roofs are in these milk chocolate. So I think that looks cool. Same as over here, and the train station. You can't see it, but it's over there. But using this stone roof is something that we've talked about before, is having something in all of the different builds that tie them together and make them feel like there's some, reason that they were built by the same person, the same type of people. And that's the reason why I've kind of added that same style on all of the buildings. So yeah, let me finish this up and we can work on those final details and check my profits in my stores. I heard there's some diamonds. And checking our profits here at our leaf shop, which is the only shop currently operating with some form of stock. So no spruce leaves. Now somebody said they were here. Ah, there we go. Look at those diamonds. In the next episode, we're definitely going to restock our rockets because they're getting low. Ooh, there we go. So there's nothing in there. So what do we... False must have been here. False must have been there. 26 diamonds. That is going to be a lot of firework rockets. flying back into the outpost. Doesn't the terraforming we've done recently look absolutely amazing? Let's get ourselves just a little bit of altitude next to the glowing tree of epicness. So there is our station, looking really, really cool. So let's land on the roof there. Wow, we almost missed that. And head up top. Of course, there's a cat up here for whatever reason. Now, I left off this one piece right here. Now, I want to do a quick chimney. So these are the resources I grabbed. I grabbed some droppers. Now, the reason being is I think these look really cool. We use these as the smokestack, of course, for the train. If I jump up here and then add a piece of carpet on top, doesn't that look like an old 1800s kind of really thin kind of stove style chimney? I think that looks cool, kind of a wood burning chimney. I think that looks really nice. That cat's loving it. And yeah, so let's jump down and look at our handiwork here. There it goes. I like it. It really does look like that Southern Central or Southern Pacific. No, wait. Southern Northern? Western Pacific? I forgot what the train was, but I do know that looks reminiscent to their more rural stations where they kind of had the station built up right there, along with the big cargo area on the sides with the rolling doors, the long windows. So I think that looks fairly accurate. It's on the platform. Now in these areas, of course, we're going to build the crane that goes down to our future underground marina there. And I think another crane's going to go right here. That's loading the flatbeds with logs and all sorts of things. Also, I had another idea. Well, I was just kind of standing there. It just came into my head. What if we built up another kind of hill right here and had a minecart coming out towards the actual train dumping off, you know, ore? That might look really cool. I got to brainstorm that a little bit. Think of our minecart that's over there. Maybe add something like that in this zone right here. I like the sound of that. But in our next episode, of course, we'll work on that, the interiors, and yeah. So until next time, my friends, this has been Good Times with Scar, and I always really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch my videos. And if you believe the videos deserve a rating, that would be much appreciated. And until next time, we'll see you later.